There is a core national identity that is the identity of the WASP. And that doesn't mean we can't take anyone else in, a Sri Lankan or a Japanese or an Indian. But the core around which the nation's values are formed is the WASP.
The other thing I wanted to talk about is Ann Coulter and her WASP comment. I just decided to check something. I was having a conversation. I was like, I'm curious, what is Ann's heritage? Let me see what her heritage is like. And you will be surprised. By her own definition, Ann is not even WASP. She doesn't fit the criteria of what it means to be WASP. So I just did a quick Wikipedia search of Ann Coulter, and this is what came out, which is very, very interesting and very, very funny. It says, Ann Hart Coulter was born on December 8, 1961, New York City, to John Vincent Coulter, an FBI agent from working class Catholic, Irish American, and German American family. Let's pause it there. Let's just pause it there. Catholic, Irish. So going back to Ann's comments to Vivek.
The core around which the nation's values are formed is the WASP.
The reason why she will not vote for him because he's not WASP, and WASP is the core of what it means to be American, to be white, to be Anglo-Saxon, and to be Protestant. Let's look at this whole thing one after the other. Let's look at whiteness. Were the Irish people typically referred to as white? Were they historically referred to as white? Were they seen as white in America in the earliest days of America? If my memory serves me right, no, they were not. So by that criteria, Ann's heritage, she's not white. Italians were not white, the Greeks were not white, Jews were not white. Those groups are white now, but then they were not white. So by Ann's own definition, the first criteria, which means to be white, she has failed it because her parents are mostly Irish, and they're Catholic and German. Now let's go to the Anglo-Saxon part, the ethnic part. So when people talk about Anglo-Saxon, they are referring to mostly English people, the Angles and the Saxons, the Germanic tribes who invaded the British Isles, from which most of the English people are descended today. So while some people can say, oh yeah, her German side means she's Anglo-Saxon, no, she's not, because the Anglo-Saxons, even though they were Germanic tribes, not all Germans were Anglo-Saxon. She might be descended from another tribe that's not Anglo-Saxon. On that metric, she still fails as well. She's not white. She's not Anglo-Saxon because the Irish are Celtic. And she had the effrontery to tell another American that they can't be president because they are not WASP, when she herself doesn't even meet that metric. The metric that she was using did not make any sense, except as a placeholder for white, except to say whiteness, what it means to be American. And I know that a lot of layers to this. I think there's the racial component, there's the ethnic component, and then there's a religious component. She's a racial bigot, she's an ethnic bigot, and she's a religious bigot. Now let's come to the religious part. Her parents are Catholic. She's descended from a long line of Catholics, but she believes that there's something tyrannical about societies that are predominated by Catholic. So by her metric, someone like her should not even be in American politics. I mean, her parents are Catholic, even though she is now Protestant or Presbyterian, but she did grow up in a Catholic background. So why should any American trust her? Why should anybody trust her loyalty to the United States of America if she's not WASP herself? And her concluding statement to Vivek was that she'd be more comfortable if the person has some partial English ancestry.
I want to hear you say it, and I'd also be more comfortable if you're third generation and have some English or British blood in you.
She doesn't have that. She doesn't have English ancestry. She has Irish and she has German ancestry. She doesn't have that. So she fails all the criteria, all her criteria for what it means to be a true American. This is what happens when people just try to rationalize their racism and they twist themselves into pretzels and they put themselves in a situation where they have shot themselves on the foot. People should be judged based on their character, on their competence, and not on the color of the skin. But Anne made it abundantly clear that the color of your skin absolutely matters, that your ethnicity absolutely matters, that your religion absolutely matters when it comes to be what it means to be an American. And her distinction with, well, president is different. You can be any other thing, but you can't be president. That goes fundamentally against their American dream. If you'd like to support this channel, you can go over to Patreon and support in Patreon. The link is in the description of this video. And if you love interesting crime fiction novels, check out my crime fiction novel on Amazon, as well as my collection of poems, which is also available to pre-order on Amazon. The link is in the description of this video.